Alright, Schlockmeisters fans. We watched WAXWORK last week. Now we're going to watch WAXWORK II. Let's check it out. Alright, WAXWORK II appears to pick up right where WAXWORK ended with that crawling hand. So Mark and Sarah take a cab. They don't notice the severed hand crawling up. Sarah goes home. Her stepfather is George Buck Flower. The hand followed her in and attacks the dear old dad. And now it's hammering him. Finally, she's able to get it into the trash. The garbage disposal gets it. And now she's in court.
Objection.
She's being tried for the murder of her stepfather.
Please delete that blaster mark from the record.
Sarah didn't kill anyone, you idiots! Are we supposed to...
Mark and Sarah access a film from Patrick McNee.
How to get through the secret chamber? Just follow Alice through the looking glass.
Anyway, I think they're in his grandfather's estate or something, and they found a hidden room with stuff.
They're making time doors. It's okay. Why not? We've been in and out of time before.
But Mark...
Listen, Sarah. If we don't find some evidence to support your story, one of two things is going to happen. You're going to rot in jail, or they're going to give you the electric chair.
Anyway, they enter some sort of doorway which leads to another dimension. And here they go.
Well,
They end up in a Frankenstein story.
I am Victor Frankenstein.
Is that what he feeds you?
And this film's version of Frankenstein's monster.
Slop, coming up.
Emily...
And he finds Sarah in the same story.
Dan finds us.
Sarah, don't do this to me. It's me, Mark, remember? Remember the waxwork?
At one point, the monster breaks free and goes after Frankenstein and the other guy there. A little comedy in this film. Teeth, tongue, eyes. Then he ends up in another dimension, which is like the movie The Haunting.
Bill Douglas,
And that's Bruce Campbell.
most exciting weekend of our lives. You know,
He can get us out.
And I believe Sarah ends up in the alien-type setting.
You heard the captain.
Hey.
Just go on without me. Fuck you.
The diving! Underneath the diving!
Bruce Campbell is now a little bit exposed.
Tools in here.
you know, I'll never forget the first paranormal experiment. The night after father murdered her. Big piece coming, right? I understand? Oh, yeah. You see, until the body is...
Sarah.
Back to the alien. Turns out Zach Galligan was there. Mark?
Are you alright? I've been looking for you everywhere.
Anyway, the two of them are together now, so they leave that area and they end up somewhere else.
Where are we?
I don't know, but you look stunning.
Take this.
David Carradine's there also. This is some sort of medieval setting.
Strike once for an arm.
I think that's the guy from Die Hard on the right.
Well, it would only have made
He's the bad guy in this story. He longs to be the king. Now, I'm not exactly sure what's happening here, but this chick is vamping out.
Take him to the dungeon.
Now that guy, I think his name's like Scarab or something like that. Sarah is playing the role of his sister. repetitive to me is is in the Blackbird now.
Earthly way, Sarah and you have actually stumbled into God's Nintendo game. Now, oh yes, where he and the devil fight it out using their various time warriors as
Now this older man there, he's the king, and Scarab wants to be the king, so he's going to use some black magic.
Jarvis is trying to impersonate the king, and he's using black magic. Magic. I know it sounds crazy, but you must believe me. Check his
Scarab's found a way
Just do
to
that for me. Check his
resemble the king now.
Yeah, you made it.
So that's really Scarab, not the king. But he seems to think he knows where the king is.
Follow him.
And sure enough, they find the real king, rescue him.
Who is this brave young man?
He and his friend uncovered Scarabus's plan to take over the throne.
Future what?
Scarab wants to marry his sister
Your
now.
sister.
But when I became king, you would have also been my wife.
Mark to the rescue, a sword fight ensues. The sword fight enters other dimensions, and this one, they're in a Dawn of the Dead scenario in a mall. And this, of course, is a Nosferatu scenario. And then, of course, Godzilla scenario.
Oh no!
Finally, they're together and they realize it's time to go, but for some reason they both can't go through at this point anymore. And he's lost his little medallion or whatever it is that helps him, so he makes Sarah go by herself.
This seems
Back to the courtroom,
one can
and she
no
has
longer
evidence.
think that without a shadow of a doubt. The accused was responsible for any of the events that
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
Does the jury find Sarah Brightman guilty or not guilty of the crimes accused?
Not guilty.
Kind of like the end of Back to the Future 2, she then gets a delivery that's been held at this FedEx type place for like 150 years or who knows how long. And it's from Mark.
Sarah, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now, Sarah?
I'm going back.
And that's how our movie ends. She zaps herself away, presumably to go back with Mark. Alright, let's talk about Waxwork II. I had never seen this movie before, but I picked up Waxwork, and Waxwork II was on this, so we decided to watch that one as well. It does literally pick up right where Waxwork left off with that crawling hand at the end of the first movie. The only difference here is that Sarah is played by a different actress. Deborah Foreman apparently was dating the director of the first film and the director of the second film, but they had broken up by then, and she wasn't comfortable doing the role again, reprising it. But Zach Galligan did. So anyway, in this one, that crawling hand follows Sarah home and kills her stepfather, played by George Buck Flower. Well, she's arrested for the crime, and she says it's the severed hand that did it. Obviously, nobody believes her. So during her trial, at one point, she and Zach, on an off day, I guess, explored his grandfather's stuff and found some old film from Patrick Macnee. Basically found this little trinket, this medallion or something that allows you, it's like a compass-like thing, allows you to go to these other dimensions again. So they decided that we got to do this, otherwise we're never going to get some evidence to help you in your trial. So that's what they do. They end up going to the other dimension. Of course, when they go there, they end up living some of the characters in these things. They go and live in this Frankenstein type thing. It's all like an homage to horror films. They live in this alien type thing, Nosferatu, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, The Haunting. But they spend most of their time, there's a Godzilla one too, but they spend most of their time in this medieval setting where she plays the role, Sarah plays the role of this, she's the sister of this guy named Scarab who wants to be king. And Scarab, by the way, I think was played by one of the bad guys, the big blonde German guy in Die Hard. So anyway, Scarab has some black magic he uses to impersonate the king. He kidnaps the king basically and hides him. But Zach Galligan rescues him. They figure it out. And at one point, Scarab wants to marry his own sister, played by Sarah. A sword fight ensues, and the sword fight actually takes them through other dimensions. They end up in the land of Dawn of the Dead, and that's where we also see Nosferatu and Godzilla. Ultimately, though, Mark wins. Scarab is defeated. But he turns out, I don't know, because he lost his medallion or something like that, the time portal or the dimension door only will allow one of them to go through at this point. So he sends Sarah through, and he's stuck in the past, wherever the hell he is. Sarah goes back on her trial, and turns out she's found not guilty. And then as she's leaving the courtroom, she gets a special delivery from somebody who's been holding this package for like a couple hundred years or something like that, just like the kind of like the end of the Back to the Future 2. It's a message from Mark, and it's the medallion. He says, "Come join me." So she takes off in a cab, and then we see it kind of zap, and she's walked through the dimension or whatever. So anyway, that's Waxwork 2. Yeah, it was okay. It was a little bit campy. There was a lot of references to other horror movies, which is pretty darn cool. And Bruce Campbell's in this one as well. He plays a small role. No nudity. There is some gore, but it's mostly comedic, to be honest with you. Eyeballs popping out, that sort of thing. And George Buckflower, though, he died kind of violently, getting hammered to death by a severed hand. That was a cool scene also. So anyway, most fans seem to think this is a better one than the first one. I don't know if I quite agree with that, but maybe. But it is kind of fun to see them pay homage to all those horror movies when they go to those different dimensions. So anyway, that's it. Waxwork 1 and 2. I believe Vestron, or whatever company is putting out those Vestron Blu-rays, put this out as well. I'm not sure who put this one out here. I've had Artisan. I've had this double D for a while, or double DVD for a while. But anyway, check it out. I'll leave a link to the Blu-ray if you're looking for Waxwork and Waxwork 2. Let me know what you think about them and leave some comments down below. Watch it. Bye.